continues. Now from Washington, Sam Donaldson.
Now we're going to take you inside a world where there are no rules, a place where children live by their own wits, often resorting to begging, stealing, and mugging. These kids cross the U.S.-Mexican border, out of sight of the Border Patrol, and then terrorize residents on the U.S. side. How are they doing it? Well, John Quinones takes you to the no-man's land where they live, a 50-year-old sewage and drainage tunnel that runs between Nogales, Mexico, and Nogales, Arizona. A dark and dangerous passageway.
They call this land Sonora, an expansive desert that stretches like a moonscape from northern Mexico into southern Arizona. It's so quiet, so desolate here, you would never believe what lurks just beneath this baked earth. "20 feet below the desert, in a dark and murky drainage tunnel, a massive smuggling operation is underway. The trafficking in human cargo.
How many people come through here every day? ¿Cuánta gente pasa?
Diario. On a daily basis, 500 or 600 people come through here.
500 or 600?
Yes, and on Fridays and Saturdays, thousands come through.
His name is Adrian, one of dozens of smugglers who charges immigrants $20 to guide them illegally through this underground railroad, the quickest, easiest passage to the U.S. It's 20 feet wide, 11 feet high, and it stretches for about a mile from Nogales, Mexico to Nogales, Arizona. With Adrian as our navigator, we enter on the Mexican side of the tunnel, and we venture deep within this subterranean passageway, down its maze of narrow arteries, a journey unlike any I've ever taken.
How old are the people you bring across? ¿De qué edades cruzan?
All ages, women with children. We even cross little old ladies sometimes.
As we head deeper into the tunnel, Adrian leads us into a smaller concrete pipe about 2.5 feet wide.
This tunnel comes out to Nogales, Arizona.
Half an hour into our journey, we surface right under the streets of the United States. To Adrian's surprise, the exit is welded shut with bars, but he says it's no problem.
Don't worry. There are easier ways to get out of here.
Sure enough, another half hour later, we see gaping daylight, the end of the tunnel, where America is just a short hop away. No visa or passport required. Many of these people have planned this trip for years. They carry their life savings, and that makes them easy prey for bands of young thieves who control this shadowy underworld. They're known as tunnel rats, Mexican gang members like Pachuco, Sony, Samurai, and their leader, Santana. They call themselves Barrio Libre, free ghetto. We come face to face with them as we exit the tunnel. They're angry and aggressive. This tunnel is our home, they warn us. You have no right to be here. They all carry cans of soda, but quickly we learn this is no soft drink. The cans contain glue and aluminum paint. The boys inhale the toxic fumes all day long for a euphoric high.
I like the paint. It's my life. And if I'm gonna die, I want to die high.
In their drunken stupor, they threaten to break our cameras, challenge us with ice picks, rocks, weapons that are frequently used. Just take a look at this police surveillance video. Gang members assaulting and robbing a group of Mexican immigrants. Who are these young thugs, and why are they running wild on our border? As night falls on Nogales and the gang's intoxication wears off, we convince Santana to give us a tour of his world beneath the desert.
You say this is your home. This is tu casa.
Yeah.
See?
My house.
It's your house.
And as we're about to discover, the gang has an unusual way of protecting their home. Bats, hundreds of them live inside the tunnel. Santana claims he can communicate with them. He has them trained, he says, to attack on command.
It's a hiding place.
Further inside, Santana shows us a secret compartment, complete with its own door. Inside the long and winding sewer pipe, dozens of people can hide out. Santana and his friends spend their days and nights living just inches away from this river of waste.
Isn't this water contaminated?
Yeah.
No, we wash our clothes here. We even bathe here. And look, we've never gotten any infections, no sores, no nothing.
At midnight, half a mile into the tunnel, we find the rest of his gang.
This is where you sleep. Aquí duermen?
All of them teenagers. Some say they've run away from abusive families. Others, like Mato, are orphans.
I have lived in this tunnel for 7 years.
7 years? You've been here 7 years? How long will you stay?
For the rest of my life, I have nowhere else to go.
The tunnel is so dark and forbidding that neither Mexican nor American police will venture down here. They're afraid of the gangs that control this underground world, afraid of the diseases that fester here, like cholera, hepatitis, tuberculosis. All of that disease and crime flows right out of this tunnel and into the heart of Nogales, Arizona. The people who live here say they're defenseless in the face of the danger that lurks right beneath them.
They live however they want. Nobody tells them what to do. There are no rules. They make up the rules.
Delia Suarez and Susan Haddock say the gangs have intimidated the entire neighborhood.
They look like they're drunk or on drugs, and some of them, you look them in the face, you can see their eyes aren't focused. How do you protect yourself? Do you buy pepper spray and mace?
There are all kinds of attacks, robberies, fights.
County officials in Nogales are also worried. They've spent months trying to come up with a way to block the tunnel to human traffic, yet still allow the flow of sewage and flood water. It's a response to the concerns of both residents and business people.
They have hurt people, they've stabbed people, they've mugged people, and they never felt bad about it at all.
Susan Valdez manages this fast food restaurant just above the tunnel. She says the gangs have attacked her employees, demanding free food.
How would you describe these kids?
Vandals, criminals, extortionists.
The people who call us that have never suffered. They've never been hungry. They've never slept like this, in a tunnel.
Why did you cry the last time you cried down here?
I cry when I remember my childhood, when my mother would take care of me. She was really gentle.
I feel sorry for the society that has created this kid.
Teresa Leal is a community activist on the Mexican side of the border.
These tunnel rats are victims.
They're not all criminals, you're saying?
No way, no way. First of all, they're victims. They're just lashing out.
Leal, who works in the shanty towns of Nogales, Mexico, says the boys from the tunnel have been abandoned by their families. Part of the problem, she says, is the industrialization of the border, triggered by NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, and its predecessor, the Maquiladora program. Both brought big foreign factories to this area. The plants have provided thousands of jobs, but the salaries are so low that in most families, both parents have to work. In a region with few schools and virtually no daycare, the new factories have produced a whole generation of vagrant children.
Their mothers have left to go and work, and the kids are hitting the streets.
Many of them wind up in the tunnel, where there's no shortage of immigrants to prey upon. While the U.S. Border Patrol is holding the line in a well-publicized stand against undocumented workers in California and Texas, states like Arizona, with little political clout in Washington, are left with a meager force to control the border.
You can see a few just ran across right there.
Steve McDonald is one of only a dozen or so immigration agents who patrol 31 miles of the border at any given time. It's no wonder the U.S.-Mexican boundary is riddled with holes. The word is out in Mexico. If you want easy access to the U.S., Nogales is the place to cross. Last month alone, it's estimated 60,000 people slipped through this border illegally. Many of them cut through the tunnel and then jump on American freight trains bound for Tucson and points beyond, like 20-year-old Jose, who invited us to join him on this northbound train. A few miles outside of Nogales, he shows us how he scales the sides of boxcars to move from one container to the next. And then he climbs perilously close to the train's grinding wheels, showing us where he hides from train officials and the Border Patrol.
Is this worth the risk?
If I find a job in the U.S., then yes, it'll be worth the risk.
But too often, the young men who ride these rails find themselves down and out, far away from home. Like 15-year-old Sergio, we find him on the railroad tracks in Tucson, his face buried in a soda can.
I inhale this, and I close my eyes, and I feel like the earth is moving.
How long does this high last? ¿Cuánto dura? Just a little while.
I wish it would last longer, but it costs too much.
It's aluminum paint. Why do you do this? ¿Por qué lo haces?
Because no one will give me a job. I get bored and angry.
It's sort of like an international homeless population, but of very young people.
Leonel Castillo is the former commissioner of the U.S. Immigration Service.
They'll become dependent in some way, whether it's in this country or that country. There'll be people that are dependent.
The solution, he says, is the creation of well-paying jobs along the border by both Mexico and the U.S.
Our two countries are so completely linked that whatever we do affects them and whatever they do affects us.
So far, the only government response to the kids' flight has come from city officials in Nogales. This week, under heavy security, workers installed a massive gate on the American side of the tunnel. A gate ironically made from railroad tracks. The same rails used by the boys to enter the U.S. will now be used to keep them out. Several of the gang members were detained and deported, but all of them have vowed a return to the tunnel.
This is where we live, our home. The day they put up the first bars, we will take them down. We will never allow that to happen.
We left the boys of Barrio Libre in the early morning hours. Their final words: consider this your home. If you ever find yourself homeless, you're welcome back.